Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, using a coupon on a first date. Love them or leave them. Also, the excuse not to tip you've been waiting for. All that and more on the way next. It is the Hudson Show from RadioU. An excellent ep on the way for you. Nene will join me. We'll eat some Dolly Parton donuts, so everybody's going to have a good time. But I'll start with this. Bryce Harper, star player for the Philadelphia Phillies. He helped a guy out with a promposal. The video is making the rounds now where it's simply Bryce Harper and the guy. They show up to the girl's house and Bryce Harper says, hey, I just wanted to help this guy ask you to prom. And she's very happy about it. It's a very sweet video and obviously a great promposal. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do this, but I do think that this guy might be setting himself up for failure a little bit. Because think about it. How can you do anything cooler than this in the relationship? Like this is the height. You propose for prom with Bryce Harper, and then I don't know how it can get cooler. The prom is not going to be as cool as Bryce Harper showing up at your door further on down the line, your anniversaries and whatever. How can you make them cooler than Bryce Harper showing up? And so I think he's setting himself up for failure in a way. But yet again, I'm not saying don't do this. It's a high school relationship. You're set up for failure anyways. But it's very telling in the video that Bryce Harper, I mean, they're both standing right there. And after she says, yes, I'll go to prom, she hugs Bryce Harper first before her boyfriend. It's the Hudson Show. Today's useless knowledge all about the amazing Amelia Earhart, since today is the day, way back in the 1930s, that she was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. So the question is, Amelia Earhart famously did not drink coffee or tea. She didn't like either. So what did she drink during her flights instead? Lots of good guesses coming in. We heard from Derek, who guessed apple juice. It's a good guess, but it is wrong. Also, Regina said Coca-Cola. And I love this guess from Susanna, who says whiskey. That is wrong, but I feel like that's always a good guess if you're talking like the 1930s. It feels like everybody was drinking whiskey. I don't know what it was like, but what she was actually drinking, even more disgusting. It's tomato juice is the correct answer. I would have also accepted hot chocolate. Tomato juice, like she didn't really eat a lot while she was flying. It was mostly tomato juice was like her meal, and then she would do some hot chocolate or some squares of chocolate as well. And now look at flyers. Tomato juice still a popular drink in the friendly skies. Speaking of Amelia Earhart, do you care that during World War I, she became a nurse's aide in Toronto, Canada, to tend to wounded soldiers? What a gal, Amelia Earhart. Really loved flying. Like, really loved flying. I don't think I love anything as much as she loved flying. Most of us know enough to know that we don't have it all figured out. That in many areas of life, we need advice. We need people that know more than we do about certain things. But it's funny, as much as each of us know that you know enough to know you don't know, but I don't think we always realize that we don't always know the best places to get that advice. And whether it comes to relationships, your career, your money, your politics, so many places, we know, well, I'm going to listen to somebody else because they probably know more than me, but we don't. I guess let's put it this way, garbage in, garbage out. If you start listening to somebody that sounds like they know a lot, but actually doesn't, then that could be worse than just not listening to anybody at all. So how do you solve this problem? How do you know where to get the good advice? I'm telling you, it's a relationship with Jesus, because God is always going to give you the best advice. He's not going to pull any punches. He's not ever going to serve his own purposes above what's best for you. Jesus loves you. He wants to be there for you and give you the best advice there is, and then help you find the good people to listen to. If you want to know what that's like, talk to God. Let him start talking to you, giving you some of that good advice. See what happens. A world record has been broken in St. Louis, Missouri. The world record for the most people wearing underwear on their heads at the same time in the same place. Yeah, it was actually broken on March 14th. They call it 314 Day there because that's the area code. I appreciate that it's not Pi Day in Missouri. But they wanted to do something at a museum which actually holds the world's largest pair of underwear to commemorate 314 Day this year. Their idea was to break the Guinness World Record for the most people with underwear on their heads at the same time. And they were able to do it. How many people did it take to break this record? You might be wondering. 355 people joined in, showed up at this museum, put underwear on their heads. This leads me to so many questions. One, why or maybe how did you get 355 people to agree to wear underwear on their heads? You can't get 355 people to do anything. How did they get 355 people to put underwear on their heads to break a silly world record? Two, does that mean that previously there was not only this gathering, but there was also a previous gathering of 354 people who put underwear on their heads all at the same time in the same place? And if so, why? Another question is, this happened on 314 Day, right? That's March, and it only now has been confirmed as a Guinness World Record. Has there been somebody at Guinness World Records slaving away day and night working on this for the past 2 months? Like, we've got to check. Look, every nook and cranny, check all the records, every newspaper. Make sure that this is actually the real world record for most people with underwear on their heads all at once. It's ridiculous. Let's do the box office breakdown. Our Monday tradition, looking at what made money and what didn't in theaters over the weekend. If you got out and saw anything, let me know at 8772 Radio U. The number one movie at the box office was the new movie If. It's the imaginary friend movie from John Krasinski as director. Steve Carell and Ryan Reynolds starred in it. Despite not exactly great reviews, it still made $35 million. I would take that. I tell you, I would take that. You give me whatever reviews you want for $35 million. That feels like that's okay for that movie. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was number 2. It's now made over $100 million in North America alone. It made another $26 million this weekend to come in at number 2. Number 3 was a movie that got horrible reviews and still managed to show up at number 3, and that is The Strangers Chapter 1. Horror movies, man, they just make money, like always. They made another $12 million. Then you have The Fall Guy, followed by Challengers is your top 5. Now, what did you see this weekend? 8772 Radio U. Let me know. For me, I finally finished the Steve Martin documentary that's on Apple TV Plus, which came out a while ago. I'll tell you why it took me so long to finish it, is because I watched the first, it's 2 parts. It's a 2-part documentary. The first part I watched, I wasn't wild about. The first part, you don't see any of the people talking, recapping Steve Martin's comedy career. You don't see any of them. There's a bunch of like animation clips from back in the day. And I'll tell you too, I like Steve Martin's stand-up comedy, but when you see it out of context, it makes no sense. And a lot of it makes it look like, why was this guy popular at all? So then I put off watching the second episode because I didn't like the first one as much. But the second episode, much better. Just a totally different style, where you actually do see Steve Martin today. He talks about his life, recaps a lot of his movies, and some really emotional stuff too, talking about his relationship with his dad. So that is worth watching. Honestly, you could skip the first part. Just watch the second part. It was actually, I actually really enjoyed it. We call this Fired or Hired on the Hudson Show. Anytime you have workplace issues, something at the office that isn't sitting right with you, let us know at 8772 Radio U, and we can help you out. You can weigh in with your advice on this one, where a guy, this is a simple, straightforward one. He says, I work 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I have to wake up at 5:30 a.m. to leave the house before 6:40 because otherwise the traffic will be so bad that I'll probably be late. If I had to take the bus to commute instead, I'd have to wake up way earlier, probably around 4:30 a.m. The traffic is so terrible from 5 to 7 p.m. If I go by car, it takes me like an hour to get back to my house. If I take the bus, maybe even 2 hours. That means I'm at home by 7 to 8 p.m. So we're getting up at 5:30 a.m., leaving at 6:40 a.m., then working and then getting home finally at 7 or 8 p.m., which means I only have like an hour of free time before I have to go to sleep, because if I don't get 8 hours of sleep, I won't be able to function the next day. Says, I don't have it that bad compared to others, but how do people with children even do this? And then also, how do you have time? How can you make time to meet a significant other, make new friends, and learn new hobbies. Well, I'll tell you, this is a common issue, I believe, and I'm sure we have a lot of good advice to help this guy out. I know I have some good tidbits. 8772 RadioU. We've got a guy who spends all his day commuting and working. How do you have time for yourself? Rick says, find activities near work or go to happy hour with your coworkers. If you stay near the office longer, traffic won't be as bad. Rick took the words right out of my mouth. Because some other people like Jared texted in, you have it bad, dude. Like you have an hour to yourself. You either need to find a new job or move closer to the job because this isn't sustainable. Now, those are harder to do than if you want to make the most out of what your current situation is. If you're happy at the job other than your long commute, you do what Rick says. You find something to do near the office. Maybe there's a baseball team. I don't know where you live, but maybe there's a baseball team or, some sports. You can go to the gym after work to give you something to look forward to. Just find something to look forward to in the city after work nearby. And that is one option for you. We also, a lot of people are just saying you need to find a new job, but I think, look, finding a new job, finding a new place to live, easier said than done. So I think Rick kind of hits the nail on the head. Also, make sure you're maximizing your weekends is basically to sum up what Dee says. You have to set aside time for yourself on the weekends and at least pick one day a week as well, where it's like, this is family time, this is friends time, so that you also have that's like part of your normal schedule so that you don't get bogged down fully in work overrunning your life. Hopefully this is some helpful info here for our guy, but it is tough trying to find time for yourself between working and commuting. That takes up so much. Not sure if you saw the highlights from the Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk fight over the weekend. They were pretty wild. It kind of makes me wish I watched the whole fight, but then again, I got all I needed from just the highlights. But Alexander Usyk pulled off the upset win, defeating Tyson Fury, which makes Alexander Usyk now the undisputed heavyweight champion, which is the first time that's happened in 24 years that there's been a heavyweight title holder that's been undisputed. But Tyson Fury, of course, he was the favorite, and he wasn't the only loser on this over the weekend when this fight went down. Also, Drake lost quite a bit of money because he bet on Tyson Fury to the tune of $565,000. Drake lost. Now, if he won, it would have won him $1 million. But since he lost, now Drake is out for $500,000. And what's crazy is this is like the fifth time in just the past year that Drake has publicly lost a big fighting bet of over $500,000, which some people would take that as like a cautionary tale. You don't want to start gambling. And I'm sure that's the lesson we should learn. But is anyone else just kind of tempted to start gambling whenever you see what Drake bets on and just go the other way? Got the Hudson hotline open.
8772-RADIO-U.
Talking best shows to fall asleep to. What do you turn on the TV while you're sleeping or on your phone too? Jamie getting in with a good answer. Jamie says space or nature shows. That's a good answer. Basically National Geographic. I'm imagining though, like it can't just be any nature show, right? Because it's got to be more like David Attenborough style than, I don't know, Coyote Peterson. Although that does bring up an interesting point to me, which is why you can't have YouTube on while you fall asleep. I'm sure some people do. To me, I can't do YouTube because I don't pay for premium. And so you want to talk about ads that will just come out of nowhere and serve as an alarm clock. That's definitely the place. We also heard from Philip, who says Doctor Who. I feel like that's a popular choice. Thomas says, I haven't fallen asleep to a show in a little while, but one that's always been good in the past is King of Queens. Yes, I think the answer for me is a like sitcom that you've already seen before. King of Queens, Seinfeld. I feel like the best answer is The Office, since there's no laugh track. It's so like slow paced. It's not loud. I feel like that. And Susanna chiming in with Frasier as well. Another similar idea. Dylan says, going the opposite way, saying, I don't have a particular show I fall asleep to, but I know I don't like to have murder mysteries on, which is a popular choice. A lot of people I know do that, but his reasoning is because then I want to stay awake and know who did it. I can't go to sleep not knowing. Some more good answers coming in here. Monica saying The Great British Baking Show. Man, some of those Food Network shows, some of the baking shows, cooking, that actually is an excellent answer. Real calming, real chill. And maybe like that's one of those ones that like through some kind of like osmosis in your brain, you pick up recipes, you pick up cooking techniques while you sleep. I don't know if it works that way. I hope it does. Also, this will make so much sense. Ryder says the late night talk shows. Yeah, like Kimmel and Colbert. That actually makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, this is a good. Bobby says Futurama. I always love Futurama. That's never a wrong answer. There's been so much debate lately over the last couple of years at this point of tip creep, where more and more you're being asked at different places to tip where you probably wouldn't have in years prior. Who knew the debate could be settled with such an easy, simple rule? I saw this going around. Simply, if you order standing up, you shouldn't tip. It's so simple. It seems to solve everything. If you're standing up, if you're ordering at a counter, then you shouldn't have to tip, right? Because the service is just them standing there punching the order in. They don't have to walk around. They're not moving around, serving multiple, it's just you and them face to face. I think that actually could be a pretty easy shortcut rule for us to solve all of this tipflation situation that we're going through. What do you think? 8772 Radio U. Is this the one simple rule to solve it all? Because for me, I don't even know. I think I've been subconsciously adhering to this rule, even though I never thought of it until now. 8772 Radio U. What do you think? If you order standing up, no tip, makes sense. Lucas says, if I always ask the employee if they make a tippable can we cut and start over? Lucas always says, I ask the employee if they make a tippable wage or a minimum wage. Do you really do that, Lucas? Do you really like that? I'm curious to find out what the conversations you have after that point are like. I am not that outgoing, and I don't feel like I want to open that can of worms with the employee. And quite frankly, no offense to the people at like Subway or whatever the coffee shop is, but I don't know if I want to have a long conversation with them, especially if there's a line. So that could be one way to do it, though. I'm interested to know what the reactions you get to that are. This is interesting from Eric, who says, you order standing up, pick up your own food, clean up after yourself, and then tip. Who are you tipping? And when you do start to lay it out like that, that does kind of start to sound true. Here we go, though, from Haley, kind of feeding off of what Lucas says. Haley says, if you see the POS machine ask you for a tip, that's an attempt by the business to keep from paying their employees anything close to a living wage. But if it's a sign or a jar made by the employee, by the register, then that is an attempt by the workers to make sure they have enough money to get through life. I don't know if it's that cut and dry, but that's an interesting thought process to keep in mind. And then we have Rick here who says, if I pay before I get what I ordered, then no tip. Because how can I tip? How can I judge the service if I haven't been served yet? I think these are all good thoughts here, but I still feel at the end of the day, maybe we just don't need to complicate it. If you order standing up, you don't tip. We're doing a food fight. Nene is here with me. Good morning, Nene.
Who's we?
You and me.
Is that what this food is for?
It's for us.
Yay, I get breakfast!
Yeah.
I missed it earlier today, so I wasn't able to get it. But now it looks like we're about to have some sort of donuts?
We're having donuts, and this ought to be a pretty good breakfast. I'm hoping anyways. It's Krispy Kreme. We've got new donuts from Krispy Kreme. And Krispy Kreme just did a collab with Dolly Parton. And you can tell if you watch this on the Radio U Facebook page and YouTube channel, they really went all out. It's a Dolly Parton. First of all, they've got a special box.
For Dolly Parton. Take a look at this thing.
It's got the signature butterfly on there.
look at that. It looks like a picnic.
But the boxes and the only thing is pretty. They also have 4 new donuts.
Let me open it,
yeah,
too. Can I
showcase
open
the
it?
donuts.
Ta-da! Look at all the donuts inside. So there's a pink one. Gosh, I don't know if the color can get it right, but there's a pink one. There's a yellow one. There's a brown one. There's some regular ones. And then there's like a white and brown swirly donut.
All right.
I don't know what they are specifically, but I'm just describing them off the colors.
I know what they are, so let's do it. You want to do it this way, where you just go by color and then eat it and see if you can taste what it actually is?
Surprise me, yes.
So which color do you want to eat first?
Okay, so I cut mine up into quarters. That way we wouldn't have to eat the whole donut if we didn't like it.
Right, of course.
And so this brown one has like some orange stuff oozing out of it.
Yeah.
I think we should try that one.
All right. I'm looking forward to this one. I don't think I've ever had a donut that is this flavor before.
I personally, when I smelled it, didn't look like something that I'd be a fan of. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a try and see what this oozy thingy is.
No, I kind of like that. It's a little artificial. That was actually
is this
pretty
apple?
Good. Not apple.
Peach.
Yes.
It's peach.
Uh-huh.
That's what it is. It's peach.
The Peachy Keen Cobbler Donut.
They would call it something like that for Dolly.
Yeah, that feels like I can hear Dolly saying that. It's the Peachy Keen, but it's pretty good.
They should have a 9 to 5 donut where she's just making it all day long.
That's so what did you think of that one? Any good? You like
mid?
Peach?
It's all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Fine.
Which color do you
want
to do next?
Let's do the yellow donut
all right,
next.
the yellow one is the one I am not looking forward to.
Why?
This is not a flavor
Actually,
I
I don't want to know. All right, here we go.
I mean, it's not horrible.
Is it banana?
Mm-hmm. Banana?
You don't like bananas?
No, I don't. Regular bananas are fine. I don't like banana flavored stuff very much.
Okay.
That is the yellow one is the banana pudding pie donut.
I do like banana pudding, but I did grow up in the South, so it kind of makes sense. My Nana makes this amazing banana pudding with like the vanilla wafers in them too. Oh, that's so good. I love you, Nana.
I bet you that's probably better than this is. Vanilla wafers, you got to put those with the banana pudding. But you know what? I don't like banana flavored stuff. It's not bad for banana flavored.
Pink.
We're doing
Let's
pink.
go pink next.
Pink is
Pinky.
Pink is the one that comes with the special candy butterfly that goes on top.
Yeah, I specifically cut that butterfly out so I wouldn't have to eat it.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste any different than the actual donut, does it?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, well, good. We're not missing out on anything.
I'll tell you
then.
this one before I tell you the flavor. You can taste it. It's called, I love the name, the Dolly Dazzler.
If this doesn't dazzle me, Dolly, we're coming for
setting
you.
expectations
You're about to get
high.
a nasty DM in your Instagram.
All right, the Dolly Dazzler. What does that taste? Oh.
I feel dazzled. I think they just took the pink donut and put sprinkles on it.
It's supposed to be strawberry flavored icing and then gold, pink, and white glitter sprinkles on there. Why does that taste like Starburst or something?
Why do I
that?
like the banana one more out of all 3 of these I've tried so far?
Yeah, that unexpected to me. All right, do the last one.
This is just a regular glazed donut with brown and white swirls on it.
I feel like you know what? That's not bad.
Yuck.
You don't like that?
They put chocolate on it. I don't like it.
That is the chocolate cream pie donut.
Don't like chocolate.
You don't like chocolate?
Nope.
You're
Do not like
is
chocolate.
Is this a prank for the show?
No, I seriously am not a fan of chocolate. I'll eat it, but like, it's never my go-to.
That's crazy.
It just never is.
That is, you have such a unique palate.
I do. It's called being picky.
Yeah, seriously. All right, we've had all 4. We started with the Peachy Keen Cobbler donut. Then we had the banana pudding pie. Then the Dolly Dazzler.
The Dolly Dazzler.
And then the chocolate cream pie donut. Rank them, Nene.
All right, so looking at these donuts, the worst one that I tried was that one we just tried. What was it? The swirlies?
Chocolate cream pie.
Chocolate cream pie. That was the worst one.
That's shocking.
The next worst one was that first one we tried. What was the first one? It was like the brown one with the
The
orange.
Peachy Keen
That
cobbler.
Peachy Keen. That was the next worst one. And the second best out of all of them was probably the Dolly Dazzler. And for me, number one was the yellow donut, which was that banana what?
Banana pudding pie.
Banana
That
pudding
was your
pie.
favorite.
Reminds me of my Nana. So, of course, I'm going to
there
lean
you
more
go.
towards it.
Do any of these remind you of Dolly Parton?
The only thing I remember about Dolly Parton was last year for the Thanksgiving Day halftime show she did with the Cowboys.
yeah.
She performed. That's the only thing I remember, and that's because I'm a Cowboys fan.
Of course, it always revolves around the Cowboys. I think the peach one is actually the best.
What?
I love the Peachy Keen cobbler donut. That was pretty solid. I would eat more of that. Chocolate cream pie number 2 for me. So our orders are almost reversed. And then the Dolly Dazzler did not dazzle me that much. So I might even put the pudding pie, the banana pudding pie, ahead of that, even though I don't normally like banana.
Are you going to send her a nasty DM?
I would never do that to Dolly.
Well,
I'm going to go visit her theme park later this year.
She has a
She might not
theme
let me in.
park?
She might not let me
Where?
in. Dollywood in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge.
Dolly.
What if she bans me if I
Can we have
criticize
a
her donuts?
Nene Wood one time?
If you get as big as Dolly
We
Parton
just
one day.
just go out in the woods and like go camping. That's really all it is.
Oh yeah, you know the drill. Just love them or leave them on the Hudson Show. If you ever have any relationship issues, let us know at 8772-RADIO-U. We'll be glad to help you out. Keep everything anonymous, of course. This one not sent in to us from a listener, but instead it is a TikTok that has caused quite the debate, so I want to see your thoughts on it. TikTok simply shows a young woman on a date, P.F. Chang's. The caption simply says, on a first date, and he asked if it's okay if he goes back to his car to get a coupon. Help. And that's it. Your date wants to go out to the car to get a coupon on the first date. Love him or leave him. 8772-RADIO-U. I think we can agree that's a wild move, but could it, the debate rages on online. Is that a good move or a bad move? Apparently, looking at these responses, we have a very frugal fan base here on Radio U. Philip says, obviously he's a keeper. He's resourceful and fiscally responsible. Regina says, love him. I love saving money. And potentially that means they're fiscally responsible. Tim took it even further. He says, love him, possibly leave you. Now listen, I'm all for saving money too. That's not the problem. But first of all, and a lot of people pointed this out online, saying you need to go to your car to get a coupon is possibly him ditching her, because it feels a little sketch, doesn't it? And let's say he comes back. They make paper coupons for P.F. Chang's in 2024. I'm still skeptical. But to all the people saying he's fiscally responsible, are we sure? Are we sure he's fiscally responsible, or is he broke and he got the bill and he's like, the only way I can afford this is with this paper, is with a coupon in the car? I'm not fully in. I'm not fully in that it's a green flag. But this is why dating is complicated, because this is only one piece of the puzzle, one part of the picture. We don't know the whole other story. Maybe he's broke. Maybe he's fiscally responsible. Maybe y'all are going to get married and have so much saved up in the savings account. But also, maybe he's a penny pincher. You guys aren't going to have any fun. It's hard to say. But I don't see it as the green flag that so many others definitely seem to. Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.